Hi. This is about the fifth time I've done this, so I'm going to try to make this a good one. But hello, my name is Drew Patel, if you don't know me. I am making this video to kind of explain myself about the journey I've been on, what got me here, the reason I'm doing this, for many reasons. I think the first one is I want to explain to my family why I'm doing this. There's a lot of them, and I think this is just easier than going to each individual one and explaining my situation. I also think that probably the view of me and the view of what I'm about is probably not really understood, even by the people closest to me, my family, some of my closest friends. I kind of keep to myself, usually, and I think that confuses people about what I'm trying to do and what I do in general. So I'm doing it for that reason. And I'm also kind of doing this for me, to gather my thoughts and set a starting point for what I plan to do here and explain what I plan to do here. Because I think it can be confusing, especially starting to post more things or do more things for me. So that's what I'm doing. But I guess how this really started is I studied accounting for a long while. I spent 6 years trying to get my CPA, and I actually got my CPA recently. The requirement, and if you don't know, CPA is a certified public accountant. It took 5 years of school. I took 4 years for my bachelor's, 1 year for my master's, and you also have to work for a year. So I worked as an auditor for a big accounting company, and 2 weeks ago I quit that job to move here and do something different. And the reason I quit has to start way before I got into accounting, way before I got into college. And there's many aspects of it that I feel like I wouldn't be able to explain to anyone, really, or in a small amount of time to fully understand all the aspects. So I hope to do that here. I'm kind of new to filming, if you couldn't gather. So I'm going to try to shoot straight and just talk from my mind and not dilly-daddle that much. So I got into accounting a long time ago, 6 years ago, actually. And I feel like an issue, not only with accounting, but in general, is that whenever you start to study something, or you choose what major you want to do, or you choose what you want to do in life, you get pushed in a box. And it's not really like anyone's fault. It's easier to just be like, oh yeah, they're an artist, they do this. Oh yeah, they're an accountant, they do that. Oh yeah, they're in finance, so they must be evil or whatever. That one's a joke. But, for accounting, a lot of accountants is that, they must be good at numbers, must be really organized, things of that nature. I always thought that was funny, because the reality of how you kind of get grouped into what you decide to do or what you want to do, at least in my experiences and from the people around me, you kind of just dilly-daddle throughout life for a while. You're born, everything's new to you, everything's so exciting, everything's so cool, and you just kind of do your thing for about, whatever years, 14, 15, 16 years. Some people choose to dial in for school. Some people don't choose to dial in for school. It's kind of up to you. And then somewhere along the line, you get into an institution, and they ask you, what do you want to do? What are you going to study? What are you going to be doing the rest of your life? And it's kind of silly, because you make that decision when you're technically not even fully developed. Your brain gets fully formed, so I hear, when you're 25. I'm 24, so technically my brain's not even developed at this point. But you make the decision when you're 18, 19. You just became an adult by some random terms, and you decide what you want to do the rest of your life. And then you get whatever respective box or respective ideas are placed on that, and you just run with it. And so that was always challenging and interesting for me. And the reason I got into accounting is none of the reasons I mentioned before. I'm not really that organized. I try to be. I didn't get into it because I love numbers or organizing. The real reason I got into accounting was I started college as a business major, classically. And when I got into my first class, A was the largest class, which was cool to me because I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to always be better. Not be better than other people, but be better than myself. Always improve. I think that's the way to go about a lot of things. And I just remember talking to a lot of the people in the room. I remember listening to lectures, and I was in a business dorm where a lot of the business majors stayed. And I would talk to people about my ideas, what I wanted to do. And I would get hit with things like, oh, that's cool. And the craziest one, in my opinion, was like, oh, if you need a founder, let me know. Which is nice, and I understand, probably being friendly. But all the business stuff kind of just felt extractive to me. Like, a lot of the people felt fake. They wanted to sell something. They wanted to be a partner, be a friend, just on the precipice of making money. And I didn't get into business for that. And I don't like business for those reasons. I mean, I got into it because I truly think the value or the idea of business in general, if you will, is to make lives better, truly better. And I got that idea and that perspective from growing up. I was born in Minnesota, but I grew up in Asia, Singapore specifically, and around Bahrain. And growing up around the world is an interesting perspective, especially for me. My parents were moving around a lot. I was moving around a lot. And you get hit with, normally when you're a kid, you get hit with a lot of stimuli. Everything's new to you. Breath is new to you. Breathing is new to you. Seeing is new to you. And growing up, for me, you get all of that and more because you see a lot of different cultures and a lot of different ways people do things. I spent my college years in America, the U.S., high school as well. I spent the last probably 13 years there. And a lot of people call the U.S. a melting pot. I've always felt it was more of a cold storage, you'll find Asian people, Middle Eastern people, European people, Mexican people, Latinos, but they never really interact with each other. There's never really, you don't see a lot of mosques and Hindu temples and Christian temples and markets and European cafes in one spot. I did my work in San Francisco, and walking around there are some Buddhist temples or things of that nature around, but they're not really accessible. And there's Chinatown, sure, but Chinatown is more gimmicky. In Singapore, there's a Chinatown, a little India, right next to each other that has a bunch of temples, a bunch of these markets, a bunch of these foods and stuff all clouded together. And when I grew up in Bahrain, there was legit markets. There's nowhere in America you can barter. But I remember being 6 years old and learning what bartering is, and that stuff is fun. Just lowballing, learning to walk away and that people will chase you, awesome. So, growing up there, to put it simply, was cool. To put it more, I guess, in depth, is I fell in love with the world. I fell in love with all different aspects of it. I fell in love with the cultures, all the cultures. None of them were more impressive to me than others. And I found it more real. I've been to some places where things look neatly put together and it's just kind of boring. There's no spark to it and there's no kind of roughness. I think some of the roughness makes it, actual, makes it real and makes it understandable to me. And growing up in those places, I just got so interested in how things were made, have you ever been into an Indian temple or a Chinese temple or seen Chinese artwork and stuff? There's so many colors and so many textures, gold, paint strokes, different types of paint strokes, textiles, different metals with textiles. And I was always like, wow, how do you make that? And I got really interested with the beauty of things. And I think that's kind of, at least in my experience, how things go. You're kind of born into the world. Things are really nice. Things are really fresh. And they're enthralling. And I remember thinking at one point, how could I ever contribute? Or how could I ever understand the things that are around? This, like, amazing world that's super crazy, has so many things going on. And I feel one that was more restrictive in my point of view, since I got to see a bunch of places. But as I grew up, my family situation got a little awkward, dumb, in my opinion. I'll spare you the details. But it made me feel a little more isolated. And in that isolation, I started seeing the world maybe in a dimmer light, but maybe in a more real light. The spark of it kind of left away. And I saw kind of just a lot of greed. I feel like society is a little extractive, similar to the business thing, I really loved animals. I love conservation. At one point, I wanted to be a zoologist. But I came to find out and understand that if I did do that path, or if I wanted to do that, I would probably have to spend a majority of my time, if not all of my time, trying to get money from somebody. I feel like there's a lot of conservationists, animal people that do good work, have good visions, but they always have to grapple with getting someone to donate, getting someone to give them money for the thing. And I think that a lot of people unironically will say doing that doesn't increase shareholder value. Doing that doesn't add value to society. And I, get kind of sad with that, but more angry with how a lot of people treat the world. Some of our leaders treat the world. And it made me think a lot differently about what I wanted to do and what I wanted to build, create. I grappled a lot when I was young, for whatever reason, with understanding that I have one life. Understanding that one day, all this is going to be gone. Like, I won't be able to smell trees. I won't be able to touch things. I won't be able to, see loved ones, see people again, interact with people again. And it really got me thinking about what I want to do. For a while, I just wanted to be happy, have as much fun as I could. But the more that went on, the more I kind of saw that didn't really do much for me, being self-fulfilled, doing things for myself. And what drove that was, my family situation was kind of annoying. Didn't really feel like being at home. Being at home was a little stressful for me at those times. And what saved me, what got me out of that funk and better, was other people. I had friends that would let me stay at their house. I became essentially an adoptive child to a lot of different people. And my personality grew with other people I met. I used to be super shy. I am somewhat shy in other aspects, but I met people that were nice and helped me be more social and helped me get out of my shell and teach me, a lot of things. Teach me how to care for a house, teach me how to talk to a group of strangers, teach me how to push myself, to work harder. And from that I realized the only thing that really matters is people at the end of the day, and making sure other people are good. I think I owe a lot of my mental survival, my drive, my ambition, maybe, to the other people around me that have helped me out. I feel a deep tie to them. I think I've always been on my own a lot. Even when I've had friends, I've always just done my own thing. And it's because I've always been trying to work towards something and always been focused on that. And it's because the more that my situation got weird, the more that people helped me, the more I saw the value in caring for other people, I realized the more what I really wanted to do was just become a good father. At one point, when I look towards my future, the only thing that really makes me happy, the only thing that really fills me with ambition, is having 3 little rugrats and being able to be a guide, someone that can teach them how to navigate the world. Because there's some aspects where the world is sucky, but overall I feel like the world is amazing. I mean, trees are insane, the fact that they're real, the fact that there's animals with horns in the same vicinity where there's me. I don't have any horns that I know of. The fact that birds fly, I can't fly. And on the human side, the fact that humans can make flight. But at the same time, there's a lot of aspects that I feel that the, beauty of nature, beauty of the world has been sidestepped. Like, people don't really care. And with wanting to be a father, wanting to be a good man, I saw continuously just weak men, in my opinion, running the world. It takes a strange type of person to want to become a billionaire, to want to succeed in this business world that kind of runs the world. And I feel like you can't really get that ambition, get that drive by being like the most sound, normal person. By definition, you can't be. And I don't think they're ill-intentioned by any means, but I do think, to get billions, but then continue to push that needle, continue to just go crazy, and continue to become the richest, continue to move things forward in the name of progress by destroying everything behind you, is either blind or just a misdirection. And I have other interests outside of accounting. I got into technology, a lot of the blockchain industry, which carried my interest into systems. And the reason I got into those was, especially with the blockchain thing, a lot of people don't understand that, which is fine. I understand it. I understand why you wouldn't understand that is. I've had to explain it so many times, and every time no one gets it, which is either a reflection on me or something else. But what got me to it was I saw a system that was actually inclusive, could actually make things more equitable, if you think such a thing exists. But again, as time went on, I saw a lot of those people becoming what they hated. Blockchain people, especially early ones, wanted freedom, decentralization, a move away from, tyrants, people that owned a bunch of wealth that could change the game. And in more recent years, they've kind of become what they hated, at least in the original. A lot of BlackRock buying stuff, a lot of finance bros, like traditional finance bros, getting into it. And even on the different vein, a lot of traditional blockchain people becoming finance bros in a weird roundabout way. And it's a weird aspect to deal with, I feel like in a bunch of industries, there's that tug and pull. There's the artist, there's the idealist, there's what you wish the world would be, and then there's what makes number go up, what makes money, what actually works out. And it's hard to grapple with those things. I grapple with those things myself. I used to draw a lot as a kid. And I used to, code a lot more. Play around with things, really. But as time went on, being in college, there was less time for that because it didn't, serve a purpose of furthering a career. That's what people would say. And what people would look at. And I've always had a wish of making things better. I want myself to be better in terms of just improving every day. And my ultimate goal is to have myself be somebody that I can be proud of and that my future kids can one day be proud of. And I also hate the idea that one day I might have kids and they will look in a textbook and see a rhino and be surprised by that. Be surprised that that thing ever existed because they're gone. A lot of things have gone extinct over the years, and it feels like people don't care. But I still care, and I want to improve it. And the way to improve it, weirdly enough, is kind of going with that business thing a little bit. You gotta, in my opinion, play the game in order to change the game, which confuses people. So that was kind of my thought process up to the business thing. For a while, it's still my thought process, still my beliefs. And so what am I doing here? Well, accounting was never the goal, as hopefully you understand from that, whatever you call it. What would you call it? For that ramble I just did. But I think it's good to be organized. I think it's good to have your numbers in check. And to play the game, I had to learn the game. And the people that understand the game the most are accountants. I mean, they're the ones that put the final statement in. A lot of people think finance bros know the game. They know how, I guess, to play it, move money, how to destroy a single family home in a market that's 3,000 miles away. But at the end of the day, it all goes on the financial statements. And so I did accounting so that I could learn how the game worked, how the rules worked, so that I wouldn't be blindsided with my goal of trying to make things better. And the last year for me has been kind of all over the place. Not the most fun. I started working, and in accounting, dude, there's this like cliche thing that I think entrepreneurs say or whatever, where it's like you can work a 9 to 5 and be unhappy, but if you want to start your own thing, you're going to be working 24/7. So be ready for that. Dude, I've seen people in accounting work 24/7 because busy season, which is 6 months out of the year, which is like half the year, is like the most intense thing ever. I mean, not for my position exactly, but even for my position, like I would work from 9 p.m. to midnight, get home at like 12:30, and then go right back to work at 9 a.m. for something I hate. Not hate, but like for something I didn't enjoy, you know? And so, in actuality, you can work 24/7 for something you don't like. And it's supposed to be for stability. And so that wasn't a use of my time. And like I said before, I had all these ideas and dreams, which I still have. But getting out of college, I think a lot of people don't know what they want to do with their life, which is fine. I understand. I actually get it. And I don't know exactly the whole entirety of what my life will hold. But I know what the next 5 years I plan to do. And with not knowing, I think a lot of people give up on whatever dream they had. I feel like I told a lot of people that I wasn't happy doing my thing, doing the accounting thing, the auditor. And it wasn't that I wasn't happy doing it. It's just that it didn't fulfill my goal, my passions, my drive, and it didn't make me better. It didn't improve me. It just made me do something for this stability thing. And I found it blasphemous how some of the family members I told, or the people I told, were like fine with me being unhappy. Not that they were like, it's whatever. But there's a lot of like advice, I guess people would say, that you just gotta stick in a career for a few years, and then you can leapfrog, and then you can do all this stuff, and then you can do that. But They say you're just young. You're young in the process. But I feel like you're young until you're not young, right? And then the time passes you by. Like, you stay 3 or 4 years in a career, you're 27, and then what? You fly off to 27? And then I'm sure when you're 27, it's like, oh, well, you're almost 30, you might as well grow larger in your career. Then you get a girlfriend, you get kids, and then it's gone. You've never done the thing you set out to do. And I didn't want that to happen with my life. And I think my value of what I have to offer to my life is way more than that. It's way more than just being a numbers pusher. And it was a big moment for me this year where I was in a relationship. It was a good relationship, a fun one. But there was a specific moment where we went to a Matt Kearney concert. Shout out Matt Kearney. It was one of those where you kind of sit down and you're like on the stage, or like on a row stage looking down. And he was singing his songs. And artists are always a cool thing. Like singers, drawers, writers, whatever, what have you. Where just people doing their art. People expressing themselves. What they think in a digestible format. And he would sing his songs, and she would kind of like light up and clap her hands in a little way. It was really cute. And in that moment, though, I had this thought that she would probably never clap for me in that aspect. And I don't think anyone, if I continued my path, would clap for me like that. And it's not to say that she wouldn't clap for me in general, or that other people wouldn't clap for me. Like, I got claps when I graduated college. I got claps when I graduated graduate school, when I got my CPA, when I got my job. But those claps, that praise didn't matter to me. It wasn't what I was about. I didn't set off on my journey to become an accountant. I set off on my journey to create something. And it made me realize that if I don't start doing what I was born to do, what I see myself being able to do, it will probably pass me by. There's a chance that I would never be able to do it. That life would just get in the way. And I wasn't going to be somebody that let life control them. There's one in like a, 4 billion chance, I think it's higher, of being here. And to waste it away from someone else, something else, saying that I should do a certain thing for stability, to save up money, to play some random game that someone no smarter than me created, just kind of sounds like a waste of it. A waste of living like this. So I saved up some money, ended the relationship, not just because of that, but for other aspects of things. It was mutual, like both of us had different mentalities on it, so it's all good there. And I moved here, not to escape it all, but to focus. I did my thing of becoming an accountant. I did my thing of getting my credential, my CPA. I did what my peers asked of me, my parents asked of me, and others. And it didn't make me any happier. And I knew it wouldn't. It didn't make me find any part of myself that liked what other people thought I would like. It really just made me more certain that I wasn't doing what I was meant to do. And so I came here to focus, to start doing my own thing, to start doing the things that I think will make me better, will improve my skills and my aspects. So what is that? I'm starting to write more. I have an interest in systems. Like I said before, I think the world is in a tough spot. And I think a lot of people would voice that sentiment as well. I mean, it's kind of tough when you have a tyrant that wants a Nobel Peace Prize, I won't name names, for doing kind of nothing. You have a bunch of technocrats that continuously tell you that you're not going to be able to build wealth unless it's in the next 5 years, which I don't believe, because they create like random deals to sell equity, to buy debt, to buy more GPUs, to sell more equity, which doesn't make any sense. And the fact that like OpenAI is projected to lose money by 2027. But a lot of them are willing to bet the whole world and the environment on that to get there really fast for a reason I really don't understand. Like, why do you feel the reason to do that? Why do you feel the reason to like bet everything on just some like random technology? So I want to contribute to changing those things. I have a vision. I think that I can improve things. Maybe that's a crazy take. Maybe I'm naive. But I think I can make a system, or have an idea for a system, that can do both. That can be equitable, that can improve nature, conservation, and more than anything, that I can express my art with. I haven't been able to draw, to paint in a while. I've been really inconsistent. I've been inconsistent with a lot of the things I like to do in my life. And I want to stop that. I want to start being consistent in the things that grow me as a person. Grow my knowledge in terms of tech. Grow my abilities in terms of art. Sometimes that goes at odds with each other. Especially with, like I said, the box you get pushed in. Because on one hand, I like the AI stuff for the tech you can build, for the project you can build. And I like art for the things you can create by yourself. The things that only you can think of, that you can make real, that you can make happen. And I want to do both. And it's funny because artists hate AI and technology, kind of. I mean, they like drawing technology, but they hate AI. And AI people are like, artists are bums. Which is like, I mean, I'm sure not all of them think that, but, you know, there's tension there. But I think I can make both work together. Both synergistic. And I have a way to help with that, which I want to work on. And I really just want to get my thoughts on paper. I want to take a go at trying to see if I can make a life that I want to live. Sometimes that's hard. It's different. There's not really a path for that, not a specific path. But I want to see if I can do it. I'm giving myself a year. I've saved up enough money to be able to do it for a year. And if I fail, if this becomes nothing, and if I create the things I want to create, post them, try to get traction, try to get funding, and it doesn't go anywhere, I think I would be okay with that. Because at the very least, I would have done something. I would have taken the step to be not on my own, but to live life on my terms. And I think at the end of my day, my ultimate goal of wanting to be a dad, wanting to be a good dad, at one point, I think I would have a better ability and a better foundation to tell my kids how to navigate things, how to navigate the world, and what that entails. And on that, I want to just see what I can do, you know? I feel like I've always had things to work on. Always had things I wanted to work on. But accounting got in the way. Or like school got in the way. Or work got in the way. And what can I make if I just have 24 hours every day just free to make my stuff? To write, to draw. To write and draw. To put my drawings on writings. And to put my ideas out there. I think a lot. But we'll see. We'll see where we get to. It's fun being out here. And it's new. It's interesting. But I don't plan to be here forever. I mean, Vietnam is cool. Shout out Vietnam. But it's not exactly a place I want to live. You know, my people are in the U.S. So, living there is probably the main aspect. But yeah. That's really my main thing, is trying to build my stuff. I have a website. where I'm going to be writing a little more. A few social medias where I'm going to be like drawing and doing all that stuff. I don't really feel like promoting it or whatever. It's just like sort of a matter of fact. I'm just going to try to do more of me. I feel like a lot of people kind of go off not knowing what they're going for, not knowing what they're trying to do. I'm different in that aspect. I know exactly what I want to create. I know exactly what I want to do with this. I know exactly the direction I want to take it. So, that's what I'm doing here. I'm working on my stuff. Finally. I mean, for me, it feels like it's been a decade of trying to do this. But, life goes. And with that, some housekeeping things. I'm not going to do this forever, even if things do go well. I plan to launch something at one point, an expression of my goals. So, after 1,000 days, I'm going to delete this channel. I'm going to delete the videos I make. I'm going to delete the things I create on social media. And then after I delete them, I'm going to launch my project, if you will. It's not going to be a product. I'm not going to sell you anything. It's just going to be the system and the ideas that I've been thinking about for a while. And before that, though, I plan to document my process. I plan to document how it is, how things go, and I guess how you actually build something, from the ground up, and if you can, and what it takes. Because I feel like there's a lot of talking heads, especially in business, that's like you just got to grind. You got to be on 24/7. You got to put yourself in a box and do mental gymnastics every day to just glue yourself there. I don't think that's healthy, really. But honestly, I'm down for that. I'm down to see if that's what it takes to make what I have in my head be a reality. Make a life that I'm happy to live. And so I'm going to show you at least my journey of trying to get there. My journey of trying to work every single day towards what I believe in and the dream I have. I think the idea of a dream has been kind of cliched, but I have one, and I want to chase it. And I know what it is. I've known what it is for years now, decades even. Decades. I'm 24, so it can't be decades. But I've known what it is for a while, and I just want to chase that dream. So, that's what I'm doing. And that's what I plan to do. I'm going to try to post pretty regularly, showing the day-to-day, showing what I create, the process. And hopefully after a year, we'll be in a good place. And 1,000 days is pretty much less than a year and a half. 365 times 3. A little more, a little less. So I plan to get this done within the next 3 years. But this one will be the hardest, by far. I mean, I got nothing. I posted an article on a random site. Well, not a random site, on X, on Twitter. And it got 9 views. Not even 9 likes, 9 views. Which is fine. I kind of expect nothing to happen for the next 3 months. I mean, I expect 5 people to watch this. So, it's chill. I'm just curious to see what happens when you're consistent. I'm curious to document the process. And I think looking back, 35-year-old Drew will be like, good stuff. Glad you did that. I can't see any reality that this is a bad decision. I mean, knock on wood. But, even if all of what my parents say, well, not my parents, but, even if what the craziest thing of what a relative would say, of that this fails, I go back to America, my CPA is somehow worthless, since I quit a job within 2 years, no one will take me, and I work at McDonald's, and I'm poor, and I can't get on my feet after 40 years of having a CPA. I think I still, A, would be like, how is that possible? B, would just look out on my porch or my trailer park and be like, well, at least I tried. And really, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So yeah, hopefully, if someone's watching this, like a few years down the road or recently, and they're on the edge of, taking a jump, doing the leap, hope this inspires you too. It was scary when I was in my job and making the decision. But being here, it's a lot more freeing. And being here, it's a lot more, well, there's like nothing else to do but do the thing. And it puts me in a situation where I have to do the thing. Or I just go home awkwardly. But I have to be willing to go home awkwardly. I mean, it is what it is. So, this is me. A dude that spent 6 years doing accounting, but 10 years dreaming a dream. Finally taking the path to take that dream. Some would say I'm like that penguin, if you know that video. Others would say I'm an idiot. Both are probably right in some aspect. Anyway, if you've listened to all that, thanks for listening. I'm going to go make my dream work. Hopefully I see some of you later. Maybe I won't see any of you ever again. But maybe it will all work out. And I think it will all work out, no matter what happens. Alright. Bye. I love you. I hope that explains things. I'm not really sure. But we'll see.